Okay.
Yep.
Jai Jagannath. So we were talking about the place of Subhadra in the deity, the form of Jagannath. So she's standing on the right side of Jagannath, which is the place for the sister. While if we see, for example, the deities of Radha Krishna, Radha is standing on the left side of Krishna, which is the place for the consort. So, some people also consider Subhadra as Lakshmi, which is also not completely wrong, because both Lakshmi, Radha, and all the other Shaktis are the manifestations of Durga, Yogamaya, Adi Shakti. In fact, during the Navaratri celebrations, we have, in the 9 days, we have 3 days dedicated to Mother Kali, 3 days dedicated to Lakshmi, and 3 days dedicated to Saraswati. Because Adi Durga, Adi Shakti, manifests herself in these 3 main forms: Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati. So it's not a very different, personality. It's not a separate personality. All the Shaktis are manifestations of the Adi Shakti. Just like all the Shaktiman, all the Purusha manifestations, transcendental manifestations, are manifestations of the Supreme Narayana, Vishnu. Shiva Mahadev is also a manifestation of Vishnu. Shiva is actually the first avatar that is already there before Karanodakashai Vishnu manifests. So it's beginning of the beginning of the beginning. That is why the Vaishnava theologians say that Balabhadra is the first emanation of Krishna, at the beginning of the manifestation of the spiritual world. So Balabhadra, Balaram, is called especially by the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, is called the Supreme Personality of Servant God. Because Balabhadra is the personification of the relationship with God, of the service to God. You know, Ananta Sesha Sankarshan. So Balabhadra is also explained as the origin of Sankarshan, Ananta Sesh. As Ananta Sesh, Sankarshan manifests as the paraphernalia, we could say, of Vishnu. Becomes Vishnu's asana. He sits. You see Vishnu sitting on the big snake, Sankarsana snake, Ananta Sesh. Then we see that it becomes Sankarsana becomes Vishnu's umbrella, parasol, becomes his bed, becomes his shoes, becomes his dress, his clothes, becomes, so it's the first manifestation is Sankarshan. We, in Italian language, we have made some videos explaining the Chaturvyuha. The Chaturvyuha is the first manifestation from Vishnu. That is Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. Sankarshan is Balabhadra. So when he appears, of course he appears as the elder brother of Krishna, because the elder brother is taking care of all the needs of the younger brother. So he is, in a sense, socially more respected than Krishna because he's elder, he's senior, but only because that position gives him the opportunity to offer service to Krishna. In that sense, Balarama, Balabhadra, Sankarshana, Shiva is the Supreme Guru, is the Param Guru, the Adi Guru, is the origin of the Guru Tattva. Because by the greatest service to Vishnu is to help all the jivas, to help the jivatmas to approach Vishnu in service. Is this clear?
Yes.
Krishna in Gita, at the end of the Gita, is saying that someone who explains the science of Gita, the science of yoga, to the devotees, to people who actually want to serve God, he is the greatest, is doing the greatest service. And this is the Guru service. So Balabhadra is the origin of the Guru Tattva. So God himself is manifesting as a Guru, as the origin of the Guru Tattva. So that's why the Bhakti theologians, they say that in the beginning, in the spiritual world, Krishna first manifests Balabhadra, and then the first Chaturvyuha in the spiritual world, and then after that the material manifestation begins. So the Mahatattva is manifested, the Karana ocean, the Karanardava, Karanodaka. In several scriptures, this Karanodaka is also called Viraja. Viraja is the original Tirtha, the original river. It's a river that is actually an ocean, but it's a river that separates symbolically, poetically, separates the spiritual world from the material world. It's not a geographical thing, because it's not limited by material considerations. The Viraja is, everywhere. It's not in a particular geographical or cosmographical position in the universe. It's the Karana Udaka, the ocean of the causes. So it is the seed of manifestation of the entire material, the entire sum total of material energy, that is called Mahat Tattva. The Karanodaka is also called Mahat Tattva. That is the Mother Goddess, the Adi Shakti. You know that the Mother Goddess is identified with water. You heard that? Jala Rupena Samsita. He Devi Sarvabhuteshu Jala Rupena Samsita. Namastasmai, 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 Namo Namaha. Because Mother Goddess is the water, and the water is the origin of the entire material manifestation. So this Mahatattva, this Karanodaka, this Viraja is actually the Shakti, the power, the Mother Goddess. It's not made of water. It's not made of the material element of water. It's made of all the material elements, including the subtle ones. Bhinna Prakritir Ashtadha. The Mahatattva is composed by all the material elements. So within this Mahatattva, the second Chaturvyuha manifests as the manifestation in this universe of Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. So Vasudeva, this second Vasudeva is Karanodakashaya Vishnu. This is the first manifestation of Vishnu within the material Mahatattva. So Mahavishnu is called Karanodakashaya. So he's lying down in the ocean of the causes. Mahatattva is the sum total of all the causes, because it's a seed of all manifestations. So Mahavishnu, Karanodakashaya Vishnu, is immersed in these primordial transcendental waters, because Durga is also transcendental. She's not material. The Krishna is saying in Gita, Mama Maya Duratya. Daivi Hesha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratyaya. It's Daivi. It's not material, it's transcendental, it's spiritual, it's divine. So this Mahatattva is not material. No, we have to stop thinking it's a water ocean, like the Bible is saying that in the beginning, the creation, God separated the waters from above from the waters from below. They didn't know what they were saying. The people who were writing this stuff, they were copying something they did not understand. The actual waters from above, are the Karana Udaka, but they're not actually water. For example, as a poetic image, the planets, the planetary systems and the dimensions are called dvipas. The planets are called dvipas, islands. But they're not really islands. They're islands in a sea of space. So the space is not made of water. You understand that? Can you follow?
Yes.
You're very quiet.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to visualize all this.
Okay. But it's understandable, right?
Yes, yes.
Because these things are not in the usual ordinary experience of human beings. When we talk about an ocean, we see the water. When we talk about the Karanodaka, Arnava, the ocean of the causes, mostly people tend to see the water, but they're not really waters. It's an ocean of space. Actually, it's an ocean of possibilities, which is even, different even from space. because space is just one of the material elements is called Akash. Okay? But the Mahatattva, the Karamarmama, contains all the material elements, all the gunas, all the chemical elements, all the atoms, all, all the categories that are listed in the Sankhya. The Sankhya basically gives a list. Sankhya means listing, okay, making a list, The Sankhya gives a list of all the elements of the creation. So all the elements of these creations are contained in the Mahatattva, but they're not manifested yet. So this is the first creation. There are two creations in the Hindu theology. I don't want to call it mythology because it's, it repels me. Mythology basically means, fabricated stories, fables, imaginary stories. No. This is theology, not mythology. Okay. So, in Hindu theology, there are two creations. The first creation is the manifestation at the beginning of time, which is the Durga manifesting Kalima, Mahakali. Mahakali is time. When there is no time, there is no manifestation. The very idea of manifestation implies something that becomes manifested that was not manifested earlier, then at some point becomes manifested. Like Krishna says in Gita, in the beginning, all the beings, all the conditions, all the situations, all the existences started by being non-manifested, then become manifested, and they again become non-manifested. Because creation is a cycle. But there is one, they're all cycles within cycles. This is something that, it's fascinating. Because I remember when I was a child in my mother's house, there was a wardrobe with two mirrors. There were one, they could be put one in front of the other because they were in the inside of the doors of the wardrobe. So when I was a small child, I used to open these two doors, and I was looking at what we call now in computer experience the infinity mirror. That gives us the idea of the infinite, because there are realities within realities. When you have the infinity mirror, there is no end. Each image is smaller, contained within the previous image. Let's see if I can make the infinity mirror here, by screen sharing. Okay, so this is the infinity mirror. Okay, ignore, let's see, yeah. Okay, this is the infinity mirror. Each window is containing another window that contains lots of windows, each one containing each other. Not each other, but in sequence. So this is the concept of, creations, the cycles within cycles. It's difficult for people because we think we live in a linear time. So there is a beginning and there is an end. No, there is no beginning and there is no end. There are just cycles. Each beginning and end is just a cycle. This is why the dynamics, the mechanism of reincarnation is engineered in this particular way, because each new life is a cycle within the greater cycle. So, when we take birth repeatedly, again and again, and each lifetime, each birth, has a beginning and an end, but we know it's within a greater cycle that is our development, which has no beginning and no end. Krishna is saying in Gita, when in the beginning Gita is talking about the Atma, saying it has no beginning and no end. Also when he speaks of the Param Brahman, Krishna says it has no beginning and no end. It's difficult for us to understand this because we are used to things, material phenomena, material manifestation that have a beginning and an end, because that is the meaning of manifestation. Is that until now it's clear enough?
Clear. Yes.
Any question?
No.
Okay. So, how does that relate to the appearance of Balabhadra, Subhadra, and Krishna? We know that these personalities exist eternally. It's not that they begin to exist when they appear as avatar. They exist eternally. They just, sometimes we can see them and sometimes we cannot see them. Just like we see the sun after sunrise and before sunset. So the appearance of Balabhadra, Subhadra, and Krishna, Jagannath, are like the sunrise or the rising of the moon, the rising of the sun, the rising of the moon. They appear to us, they stay for some time, and then they disappear. So this is why the poetically the dynasties are, of Vedic kings are the main two dynasties are called the Surya Vamsa and the Soma Vamsa, Chandra Vamsa, Soma Vamsa, because the king is a manifestation of Ishvara. The archetype of the king, not any particular king, the kingship, the personification of kingship. And here we can start to also understand the position of Indra and the Devas who are in Devaloka, in Svargaloka. The Devas who are in charge of the management of this particular universe. All the universes have each their own devas, but some change can happen because it's the position of deva is accessible also to jivas. So the devas are called Vibhinnam Savatar. there is a difference between the Swamsas and the Vibhinamsas. This is an extremely important difference because many people who don't understand this very important point, they conclude, they think that Hinduism is a polytheistic religion, that Krishna is a separate god from Vishnu, from Shiva, from Indra. So there are so many different gods, all individual gods. But this is not a fact. This idea is offensive in the sense that it attributes, falsely attributes material limitations to God. And if we keep this idea, we'll never be able to understand God. This is why in the, I think it's the Parama Karuna that lists the 10 offenses to the chanting of the holy name of Hari. The second offense says that it is offensive to separate the names of the devas, such as Shiva, etc., from the names of Vishnu. Unfortunately, for some reason, somehow, this translation was proposed in exactly the opposite meaning, because the preachers of those times were very anxious to make Abrahamic people accept Hinduism to some degree. So they wanted to show Hinduism as what they call monotheism. Ishvara Allah Teranam. You know? And we find everyone in that period. You know, that was the colonial period after the Islam dominated period. So for several centuries, Hindus have tried to adapt Hinduism to make it look monotheistic, to embrace all religions are the same. So the God of the Bible is Vishnu. So Jesus Christ was the greatest Vaishnava Acharya. And Muhammad as well, why not? Was the greatest devotee of Vishnu, according to some people. But today, this type of perspective is not useful anymore. In fact, it is very counterproductive. It backfires horribly. You know, it was useful, this mentality was useful in the 1800s. Because if the preachers of that time didn't present Hinduism as a, you know, from an Abrahamic compatible perspective, Hinduism could have been totally destroyed. Physically, you know. Physically. All the temples could have been destroyed. Well, the Muslims tried their best, but you know, they could have tried worse. And the British colonial regime could have become more, you know, hostile towards Hinduism, which it was not so much. You know, it could have been worse. But now, we don't need to appease and please the Abrahamics. So we need to actually go deeper into the Vedic science, Vedic knowledge, Vedic theology, and go to the source where we can actually understand the tattva as it is, tattadaha, in reality, in tattva. And this is what is needed now, because what we need today is the understanding of transcendence. Only the understanding of transcendence and dharma can unite the good people. Otherwise, the divisions will continue, the faction will continue to fight. But this unity cannot be done on a false, superficial level. It has to be done in a much deeper level, so that people from any culture, any background, can actually understand the true, real transcendence. And when they actually understand, when we actually understand the existence of Param Brahma Bhuta, then we solve all the problems of the planet, and we progress spiritually. We make the big step, the big spiritual step. So this, from my observation, is the need of the hour, as they say, the need of the hour. So any question, any comment?
Yeah, one question maybe we can take
Yeah.
next session because it's already
Yeah, it's
we are
already
reaching time.
more than 1 hour.
So yeah, this what we heard was maybe from Bhagavatam we can say, but
Yeah.
there is if you read Shiv Puran or Ganesh Puran
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
Devi Bhagavat,
Puran, yeah.
so we see different aspects okay, Devi came first and then others. So
Yeah.
how to understand this? And if we again go back further to Vedas, we have Nasadiya Sukta, which says that nobody knows how this all came into being. So can we make sense of all these in parallel?
Yeah, because all came to being. It started to come to being on the non-manifested level. The non-manifested level, by definition, is adhokshaja, achintya. If it's not manifested, how can we understand it through our manifested senses and mind? And it's not possible. Cannot be understood materially speaking. It has to be experienced on the level of transcendence, on the level of Atman. That is called realization. That is called prakash. Anyway, we can discuss more next time. Please write down.
Yeah.
Please take notes
Sure.
and remind me next time. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. Thank you so much again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jai
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 Jagannath.
Jagannath. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.